It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. It seems like it's been an age since we've been on, but it was only Sunday last. But still, I suppose for us, Paddy, not podcasting in 3.5 days is a long time, considering we just love talking about the villa and stuff like that. And I thought I was only sitting down today, and myself and Paddy were just messaging back and forth about one or two little things that potentially we've got coming up. And I went, wait a minute. You haven't done a post-match. You haven't discussed anything about your time over the Brighton game or your feelings in Europe. Hi, you've half an hour to jump on there, and that was literally 12 minutes ago. So it was an impromptu pod.
Yeah. So I apologise if I forget to name all the people I met last weekend. But before I start, there's something weird go with the music there for a second.
Why so?
Did you notice that? No? So the music sounded like me trying to talk last Monday.
Oh, go away.
maybe it was just
music was fine on my end, I think.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so, Paddy, that is the trick. That is the trick that you're going to have to play. Actually, first, sorry, before we get into it, and before we talk about Paddy's travails through the ale houses of Birmingham over last weekend, and how the hell he got on a flight at 6 o'clock in the morning and came home to Ireland and did a day's work is beyond me. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. I haven't put anything up on social media yet with regards to it. I've responded back to a couple of people, but our live podcast at this moment in time is sold out. We are currently trying to massage the venue to see if we can get any more spaces. I know there's quite a lot of people have reached out asking if there's any way they can get tickets, or if more tickets come on sale and stuff like that. We are definitely looking into that at the moment. Probably should know more maybe by the end of the weekend, I would hope, maybe start the next week. But I just want to say thank you so much to everybody. Myself and Paddy didn't think we'd be able to fill the a phone box, never mind the venue, and it's just been, and I know I keep on saying it, and I genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's been really humbling. It's been really, how would I say it? Appreciated. I think the support that everybody has shown the podcast and the live podcast. And I know there's a lot of people probably at the Claret and Blue podcast tonight with the guys from Birmingham Mail, and I know they're going to put on a super night there as well. And so shall we. We still have some special guests to announce. By design, we haven't announced them just yet, but they are coming. They are coming.
Well,
the announcements.
You know what, Neil? That's what makes me the happiest, because the people are coming to watch myself and yourself and Simon and Dan and Max, and there's a couple more to come.
No, I thought you were going to fucking. I thought you. I just there.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Slip. I'm going to drive.
The other three guys decided to announce themselves, so we'll save the other couple for when flights are booked and everything is up and running. So we'll hang tough on that one. But at least you've got a surprise for the people those over 200 people that have booked tickets. It's just absolutely mind blowing. But absolutely amazing, and really looking forward to it. And I met so many people over the weekend that went, "You'll have to come to Birmingham and do one." Yes, we absolutely will. We'll come to Birmingham. We'll do one. We'll talk absolute shite for as long as you want, and we'll bring a few guests with us as well. And everybody is welcome. And I'm sure it'll be a lot cheaper to book a venue in Birmingham as well.
Yeah, that is one thing anyway. There's this famous thing. Okay, I won't bore you guys too much, but there's this famous standoff. It was a national standoff, essentially, that was had between Garth Brooks, the country and western singer, and essentially the Irish government. Check it out. And now I feel he's paid. I feel he's paid for a lot of reasons. This is more to do with noise pollution and residents. But also there was costings and stuff like that involved, and I feel he's paying with regards to that.
You don't even have to go back that far. There's the same reason Katie Katie Taylor didn't fight in Croke Park, yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely,
look, I don't think we'll ever get to have to worry about filling Croke Park, but to fill our little venue, I think is pretty amazing now at this stage.
exactly. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who has reached out and is excited about the gig as well. We're also excited about it, and we hope it's going to be a great night, or great midday, and then into the night afterwards for the parties afterwards. But anyway, less about us and more about this fantastic Aston Villa team that we have and this fantastic manager. And in the last 4 days, there's been a buzz. There's been a superb buzz. We purposely haven't done a season review yet, and the reason being is because I wanted to kind of do it right. I suppose we could have waxed lyrically, so we're not really going to go back on the season review just yet. But we want to talk, as I said, Paddy was at the game at the weekend. For my money, I'm watching it on TV on the edge of my seat, chewing my fingers off my hands. Never mind chewing my fingernails. The atmosphere sounded absolutely fantastic. And Paddy, I know you put down a good weekend. So tell us about the weekend that you had, and the build up, I suppose, the atmosphere, and then the aftermath of the game while you were at it.
Oh, look, it was an absolute cracker of a weekend. We went over early Saturday. Myself and Noel and Ronan met in Dublin Airport, and myself and my son were there early. My son Stephen, who was named after Steve Staunton, and we had just ordered our first drink. Well, I had a pint and he had a Diet Coke, and who arrives on the scene? Only Steve Staunton. And I think at that point, I realised, you know what? All the stars are aligning in here for a magnificent weekend. So we got to have a good chat with Steve Staunton. We took a picture with the two Stevens, and it just got the weekend off to an amazing start. And all the Irish guys arrived. We met a load of guys from the Longford Lions arrived on in Dublin Airport. Just really great crack, really great fun. And on to Birmingham and we went to the Witten Arms, we went to the club shop, we went to the Aston Tavern, we went to the Aston Inn, we went to the Sacred Heart. I think the only local pub we didn't get to was the Barton Arms and Shanahan's, which were on the menu, but we didn't actually get there. But we had a great night. We went off into Digbit. We met some great people. A guy called Derek Dean, who listens to the podcast from Wexford, tagged along with his son Dara. You know what I'm like with names, Neil. I think his name was Dara.
Dara's a good solid name for a son. Yeah,
isn't it just? Isn't it just? So I hope I haven't just mixed those two up just because there's another Dara in the world. But we just had the most amazing night, and we met an Aussie friend who tagged along, who watches the podcast, and we had to wake him up a few times in the pub. You notice I haven't said his name because I don't want him to have to hide this from somebody else. But he was heading on to Sligo for the weekend, and he fell asleep with us in the pub, so he couldn't keep up with our Irish drinking. But it was nice to introduce him to a decent session.
In fairness, the thing about Australians is that, when we drink beer, it goes down a certain way, so it turns a certain way as it goes down your esophagus. With Australians, it turns the opposite way. So when they're drinking our beer, they get drunk faster. I think that's what it is. I think I read that somewhere, isn't it? I think I read that somewhere that's what happens. Yeah. But like the pictures and the videos will never be shared in here that I received over the weekend. I will be honest. If any of you guys ever befriend Paddy Kelly, I don't know whether he does it on purpose or whether he does it, whether it's by design or by by fault. But he really brings out the FOMO in you, the fear of missing out with all the pictures and the videos. And geez, I must say, definitely by 7 o'clock in the evening, I definitely had a fair dose of FOMO on Sunday afternoon after the game, because Paddy, as I say, on TV, it was just it sounded brilliant. Those last couple of minutes, specifically when I suppose when the however many minutes, was it 7 minutes, 6 minutes was announced at the very end of the game, and then Villa got a throw in, and I remember the roar from the crowd. Like it was so loud even through the TV. It must have had the hair sticking up in your back during the game, Paddy, was it?
It was absolutely incredible. And to be at the game in a very sober state, and I'll get to why I was sober in a while, but I was fairly sober at the game, and I can totally tell you that at a couple of occasions throughout the day, there was tears in my eyes from arriving along to the stadium at 3 o'clock and seeing the team come in with all these people absolutely lining the streets. It was like something you see, the Champions League nights at Anfield, or
Turkish teams. What I saw, the first thing I thought was Fenerbahce versus Galatasaray or something like that.
It was pyro, and when Brighton and Hove Albion arrived, it was "Fuck the Albion." They were singing, and it was good crack, as well as being probably very intimidating for them.
Yeah.
And I'd love them to be in. I know we saw a couple of seconds probably taken out of context as well of the players on the bus, and I'll reserve judgment on that because we only saw a couple of seconds of it. But I would say that would have been the absolute pinnacle for a lot of those players. At that point, I'm thinking of two players in particular. I'm thinking of Tyrone Mings. I'm thinking of John McGinn, who are here since the championship, who have us up here where we are now, heading into Europe. And it's just incredible for those two guys who are obviously the captain, and for a lot of people, our captain is Tyrone Mings as well. And it's brilliant for them, and it was just quite emotional to watch those scenes. I think I mentioned it on the team sheet tantrum, to watch the big lad Nathan Daw in the middle of everything, just being a fan in the middle of everything, and all everyone is doing is just putting the phone up and taking a picture of him behind him, and he's just singing along "Villa Till I Die." It's absolutely amazing, incredible. The hair stood up the back of my neck. I just thought it was incredible. And then the minute the teams come onto the pitch, it was a different world. It was like Champions League football. That's the only way I can describe it. I've been to many Champions League games. I've been to World Cups. I've been to Champions League finals. But to be there when that kind of noise is being belted out for your team, it's as close as it was to the win at Wembley. The two wins at Wembley back in the 90s, even though it was pissing rain on them days. But, it was just everything about the day, from the sunshine to everybody in good form, to arriving along into the fan zone in front of the Trinity. The band there, ska band playing LA, LA, LA. It was just incredible stuff. Just all these things just keep flashing back into my mind about the weekend, and it was just an amazing less than 48 hours that I spent out of the country, because obviously I had to be back on Monday morning very early to do a bit of work. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't as productive as I probably should have been, but
you were employed as opposed to working, Paddy.
Yeah,
that's
but I got my work done. I got through it.
Paddy, you mentioned there was a ska band playing LA, LA, LA. They didn't play our entrance tune, our award-winning entrance tune. There
were so many of these signs going, "Can I have your shirt?" I was going to turn one of them around and write the name of our song and see what they play it, but didn't get to there.
A bit of crack, yeah. As you guys might have seen on Twitter, there was a bit of crack. Where there was a poll up with regards to the best entrance music or the best intro tune, and I was messing. I was slagging everyone else, saying that ours is definitely the best, and then we would in the poll. It was a bit of crack, so that's where we're going with that. And for anybody, because I think just shy of the population of South Sudan has asked what the actual song is, and it's called "Propaganda" by PEG and The Rejected. And the reason that I picked the song number one was because the band were called The Rejected. So that was exactly how I was feeling at the time. But that's the name of the song. Yeah, but a bit of crack. Anyway, with that poll, what was that? Only thing missing was seeing Tyrone on the train platform in the full kit on Monday morning.
I got to tell you why I put this comment up now, and the reason being is we'll come back to the match itself in a minute. But after the game, I played on the pitch in a game for Lions clubs, and I walked back to the Aston Inn in my full kit, shin guards, everything, all the way back to the Aston Inn. Everybody was so high on emotion. My son was going, "Why is nobody even looking at you?" And I went, "Because they don't care." Everybody was just buzzing, absolutely buzzing. And we got into the pub, and then a couple of people had realised I was standing there in shin guards and the whole lot before I went up and had a quick shower and back down for a few pints. But yeah, it's just an incredible situation, absolutely incredible. The buzz, the atmosphere, everyone was so jovial. Everyone was just enjoying themselves. It was everything the club did from welcoming the team in the way they were to, at the end, everybody coming out, Unai Emery doing that for the first time, addressing the crowd, was just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, that the Unai Emery, and you know what? There was a lot made about it before the game, about obviously getting there beforehand, cheering the bus into the ground, which was fantastic. It happened, and there was a small bit of chatter about don't go on the field afterwards, because if you do, the team won't get their lap of honor. If we do, our lap of appreciation, if we do happen to do it. And then secondly, I think everybody wanted the microphone to go to the Spanish maestro himself and to give us those few words. And it's so, isn't it so? I suppose the 180 turn from when he was appointed, not just with the club. Sorry, I'm not even going down the road with the 180 turn for the club, but when he was appointed, everybody, not Villa fans, outside of Villa fans, this came straight up with the good evening jokes and all that. And now us as Villa fans, and as I say, yes, there was an element of tongue in cheek from some Villa fans. It was grand, but like everybody knew that Unai Emery was going to pan out after the first couple of games. And now we hang on. Now, what I personally would say, I hang on his every word, because I think that even though his command of the English language is getting better and better and better, you can still see his thought process when he talks, and his thought process makes sense, and he's not a blame merchant, and he's quite forthright, and he's quite honest in what he says, I think, at times. So it was great for him to get the microphone and say what you like. Once again, I've seen other clubs say that we're tin pot for celebrating finishing seventh. Look, fuck him. That's what I say. We can celebrate whatever we want, considering we were in the doldrums when he took over. He's done an amazing job, and to be realistic about it, when Pep Guardiola won the Manager of the Year award, which I think I always thought he was going to, to me, the Manager of the Year was Unai Emery, because he had to change the mindset of a whole club. He had to get him to believe in him after they've had to try and believe in a manager couldn't do that previously, and he basically did a year's work in 6 months, and that to me is fantastic. And he didn't have to go and spend $500 million on on players over a 10-year period.
And look, imagine the gall of the Premier League giving Manager of the Year to a man who they've basically said your club has over 100 potential alleged convictions against you for financial breaches, and they just give them the awards like that when guys like Roberto De Zerbi came in and did a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic job, spoke really well about Aston Villa too at the weekend, and fair play to him. And our man did nothing short of a miracle. Like, you
Clips 20 how did the year before.
100% it. 100%. It's been absolutely amazing. And as for people slagging us for celebrating finishing seventh, they don't realise what we've been through for the last 10 years, 12 years, 13 years, whatever it is. We have been absolutely through the shit. And I mean pulled through the shit of sleepless nights, wondering if we even had a fucking club. And now here we are, playing European football, or at least playing in a playoff to play for European football. And I'm not one bit worried about it, because this man is just capable of miracles. So we just got to ride the wave, see who he brings in. A lot of talk of Asensio. I'm not even going to talk about Asensio today.
We'll do a 10-minute wrap up on the transfers, I think, at the end. For sure.
Yeah. But like, there's nothing to talk about. But at the end of the day, there's no decision being made. You're just listening to celebrities telling you that it's made. It's there's no decision being made on that. So until that's dusted, I have no interest in even talking about it. The only thing I want to talk about tonight is how fucking amazing Unai Emery is and how amazing our club is. And how amazing is it that going back 6 months, 7 months ago, where the two of us sat after that Fulham game, literally steam coming out of our ears. And now look, here we are, having achieved this amazing feat to get into Europe. Yes, I know it's the conference. Yes, if you're a Man United fan or a Man City fan in the comments, you'll never get this. You won't get it. You'll never get it. But the thing is, this is only the beginning. So to be in the situation we're in, getting into the Conference League, and here we are, staring down the barrel of what could be another epic season ahead with potentially huge signings coming through the door. I have no doubt we're going to break our transfer record this summer. And there's a lot going on. And I'm just looking forward to sitting back and relaxing and enjoying it. I'm not going to get any way excited or depressed over some alleged signing coming in or not coming in, because at the end of the day, we did that in January. We questioned, why did he sell Danny Ings? Now, don't get me wrong, that could have went tits up if Watkins had picked up an injury. It didn't happen, thankfully, and Watkins went on an amazing run and had an amazing second half of the season. But we could have very easily have been really, really worried about where the goals are going to come from. But all credit to our manager who made that decision that he wasn't going to break the bank and do anything stupid in January, and he didn't need to. He got us into Europe, and everybody's happy.
Absolutely, and like, you know me, hey, spoiler alert, in case there's new fans of the podcast, I'm going to talk about everybody we're linked to, because, as I say, I enjoy trying to.
And that's fine.
I enjoy looking at the players. I enjoy looking at what they could bring to the club, and I suppose, whether it is true or whether it isn't true, that we're being linked with certain players and stuff. It's kind of interesting to see the types of players the players are. Maybe when you're looking at them in comparison to what we have already. It just kind of gives you a kind of a look and go, okay, maybe we don't sign and we probably won't sign a Ugart. We will probably won't sign a Joe Felix or anybody like that. I don't think that we will, or there's nothing to suggest we will at this moment in time. But when you look at those types of players, there are players similar to them that may be cheaper. There are players that have similar traits to them that we may be able to sign, that can come in and, can do a job for the club. And when I say do a job for the club, I mean elevate the club like Alex Moreno did. Like, we all sat here, me included, you included, everybody included, Paddy. I think we all kind of sat here and went, what the hell is he doing spending 15 million on a left back? And I know that, look, I know that you can, you can, I'm not going to say get lucky, but he knows the players he wants. He knows the types of players he wants. He knows the idiosyncrasies, the attributes of players that he wants. And I think that's more important to him than getting the name, if that makes sense. So yeah, look, as I say, we'll still I'll still do podcasts, and the majority of people who've been linked to, I've just realized again that I haven't done anything on Harvey Barnes. I've seen his name come up there a couple of times in the in the comments, so I've got something put together. I just haven't had a chance to record it yet. I think he's very much somebody who could be in the running to be an Aston Villa player. But look, as I say, we'll talk about everybody as we're linked, and then we'll get excited when they sign. That's kind of the way. That's my my methodology. Since my fingers were burnt with Rodrigo Bentancur, because I got so excited about us potentially signing him at that point in time, I've kind of pulled back my my excitement about links and talk more about the player themselves, I suppose, more so than anything else.
The best thing we can say about Rodrigo Bentancur at this stage is, would you swap him for Boubacar Kamara? Not a fucking chance.
No, well, I'd swap him for Dendoncker, and that's no slighting Dendoncker, but Rodrigo Bentancur, I genuinely believe one of the reasons that Conte couldn't get Spurs humming this season was because he didn't have his deep line playmaker on Bentancur. Because he's been injured for most of the season. Højbjerg came in. Oliver Skip was playing alongside Højbjerg at times, and they're a completely different animal if they have a Bentancur in there with his passing ability and his ability to break up play. But look, I'm not going to be worried too much about Spurs and what they did and what they didn't do. In the transfer market to try and address that situation, because they had Basuma there all year as well, and they just didn't play him. So it swings and roundabouts from that point of view. Paddy, I had a question for you. Oh yes, the permutations. We've kind of switched as a fan base to the permutations about what could happen or what couldn't happen to get into seventh place. And how, as a fan base, and I me included, the permutations about whether we're going to be seeded for the for the Conference League playoffs or not is is now on the menu. And you know what, you want a quantum physics degree to be able to get to the bottom of it. But I think we're at the stage whereby we're rooting for FC Cluj in the Romanian Cup final to lose, and we're rooting for Fenerbahce to win the Turkish final. So
Yeah.
Cracovia, I think, are the team we want to win in the
Cracovia?
Romanian. Yeah, I think it's
Is
Cracovia.
that where Tom Hanks is from?
Yeah, Cracovia or whatever it was. Yeah, in the terminal. What a great film that is, by the way. When the terminal. And Tom Hanks, Villa fan, of course. So there's the
Yeah.
link. That's why we should be cheering for them anyway. But yeah, we're looking for those. If those two things happen, then we become seeded. But if you're kind of looking at it and look, whether we're seeded or whether we're not, we're still going to be playing a pretty decent team, and we're still going to be playing a pretty decent team. But no matter what team we play, and Juventus mightn't even be in the Conference League yet. If I think there's still some way Roma can. Oh no, if Roma
Torino.
won last night, it knocks them out.
Torino can win.
Torino can knock them out last
There's still a
season.
round of La Liga games and Serie A games, so it's still a bit too early to be worrying about it. And I certainly didn't watch that last night cheering for absolute shithouse of Jose Mourinho's teams, because my mind went back 20 years ago to when he was performing that absolute shit against Celtic in a Europa Cup final. So I kind of did a little fist pump when they lost on penalties, because I'm certainly not worried about who are playing in any playoff, because no matter what happens, we're on the up. It'll be
won tonight. Yeah, so that's so that's that one gone.
I'd be more worried about playing Bodo Glimt than playing Juventus. At least you know what you're going to get.
Well, Juventus are going to have to let half their midfield go on either free transfers or let their loans go back. They're not in a great position financially, and if they don't sell Dusan Vlahovic, they're not going to be able to strengthen the team. So they've got stuff to think about there as well. Albeit they would be formidable. The team I would least like to get is I wouldn't like to have to travel to Turkey to Fenerbahce. I really wouldn't. A team like that. But then again, look, at the end of the day, we've gone to Anfield, we've gone to Old Trafford, we've gone to the Etihad, we've gone to teams who are better, bigger teams, not bigger teams. Exactly. I'm going to say better teams that play at a better level, and we've performed admirably there as well, and we still have additions to come in. So from that point of view, and look, we might very easily get knocked out in the playoff. But at the end of the day, it's all about the progress the club has made, and players will join us prior to that, based on the fact that we're in those playoffs. So bring anybody on. That's what I say. Bring them all on, and we let the cards fall where they may.
Of course. We didn't say too much about the game itself.
No.
Because we kind of got sidetracked and whatever. But look, it's. You went on after the game and spoke about it. I watched through my tight fingers trying to see. I was just so worried, and so the euphoria, the pain, the hassle of the VAR ruling out their goal. That little weasel in Ciso. Oh my God! If I wanted to hit someone on Saturday, it was him on Sunday. What a horrible
Paddy,
The way he celebrated in front of the Villa crowd was disgusting. Bearing in mind that he was visibly shaken by the noise at one stage, and thought he was being hit from behind because the noise was that loud. So it was nice to put him back in his box. I was absolutely so disgusted with him, but not as disgusted as I was with the performance of a certain person, because I remember at one stage, just before kickoff, saying to my son, what's needed here now is cool heads and warm hearts. And the person that needed a cool head and warm heart the most was the fucking idiot that they put in the middle of the pitch with a whistle, and he didn't have
How did
it.
I know? How did I
He was
know?
fucking useless. Absolutely useless. He was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And not just a disgrace for Villa, a disgrace for both teams. He was so poor. He couldn't get anything right no matter what he did. You know, he's booking Villa players for their first tackle, booked Tyrone Mings when it wasn't even a foul. Let 3 or 4 fouls go by Webster. He let Gross get in his face 5 or 6 times in the first half and literally tell him what he was supposed to do. It was just nuts. It was absolutely nuts. It was completely lost on him, the occasion that was happening on Sunday, and it absolutely annoyed the shit out of me. But thankfully, it didn't cost us in the end.
No, it didn't. A couple of offsides went our way, which rightly so, because I don't consider those lucky. I don't consider those lucky because
I don't consider them going our way either. I consider them being
that's what I meant to say.
The rules. Yeah,
and the rules, and also the fact that it's well known that we play that offside trap. So if you're gonna fall into the trap, you're gonna fall into the trap. It was nervy though, seeing the lines be drawn and stuff like that. But yeah, look,
well, it was well for you being able to see the lines because we didn't know what was being looked at.
That's it. Yeah. And for the Undav goal, like the lines, like it was from bloody bird's eye view where they drew the lines from, so you couldn't tell what was what, and but look, as I say, I think you might have been onside for that. It was a nice little finish, and it didn't, at the end of the day we won 2-1, so I'm not dwelling on it.
And the goal came from that Mings yellow card that wasn't even a free kick.
Yes, correct. Yeah, correct. So it was.
He absolutely did affect the game more than he should have. But but look, I think I've given him enough airtime at the moment. The most important thing is the men we put on the pitch did the job. I want to give a special mention to a person who I've slated throughout the season, and that's Leon Bailey. What a fucking pass for that goal! What a pass to Jacob Ramsey for that goal. You have to. So many people stopped me on Sunday after the game, went, what about Bailey's pass? You have to say that now. And I went, look, if I'm going to call someone out, I have to tell them, I have to say it as it is when it happens. He played it. Now, he didn't do a whole lot else in the game, but by God, did he pick that pass. Absolutely incredible.
It was a super pass. It really was. Yeah. And it was, look, it was, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm sitting here going, I don't even remember the pass, Paddy. I think no, because I haven't watched the game back again. There was about a 45-minute period after the game whereby I was just on such a euphoric high. It was like in Men in Black where they got that little pen and they pressed it and it flashed before your eyes and you kind of forgot what happened. You forgot the details of what happened. And I'm sitting here going, I don't remember that pass at all. I remember Jacob Ramsey scoring and so on, but maybe now it's time to go back and watch the game again. But
just watch the goal. Just watch the goal. I watched the game back because, as you know, I watched the game from very low behind the goal in the whole end. So I have to watch these games back. But watch the goal. Oh my God, what a pass!
Yeah, it was outside of the right foot, was it? It was that one. Yeah, I think I remember it now. Yeah.
Was it outside the right foot? No.
I think
anyway, doesn't matter. It's just incredible pass. Absolutely incredible pass.
I'm trying to think, Paddy. There was something else I wanted to say. There was another topic I wanted to discuss as well on top of the game, but I don't think I'm going to remember it. It's been a long day. It's been a long day for me already.
It's been a long week. It's been a long week, and still trying to come to terms with everything that's gone on in the last few days. That's why I can't get too any emotion about the signings or prospective signings or whatever's happening. Met some amazing people over the weekend. Met a lovely couple from Wexford, Lisa and Liam O'Leary. Met Derek, as I said, who was following us around. Our Aussie mate, who was with us as well, following us around. Was not what I meant. Obviously, Derek was invited to go everywhere with us. Our Aussie mate on Saturday night getting absolutely drunk. We met 2 cousins from one that lived from Birmingham, living in Cork. one from Wexford living in Canterbury, Natalie and Grace, on Sunday night in the Witten Arms. And just to meet all these amazing people. Not all of them listen to the podcast, but found out very soon. Found out very soon about the podcast, so we told them to listen in. So I said I'd give them a shout out and say thank you for your hospitality over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, and as I said, Paddy was that was one thing he said. Like, no matter where you went, the crack was 90, as we say here in Ireland, and it was great to meet all those people. Kieran, you're dead right. Neil, you need to make some notes of what you want. If I'm going to do a live podcast, I'm definitely going to have to have talking points written down somewhere, at least for that, because my mind does tend to ramble. But a 3:45 start this morning has me. My mind is mush. I'm going to be honest with you. 3.5 weeks of 2 under 2 has my mind completely and utterly stamped into the ground. They've broken me mentally. I'm joking.
I think we have to arrange a couple of days off before this live show and do a bit of rehearsing and get everything.
I've the week before and the week after booked off already anyway, so it's gotta be thinking, Paddy. You gotta be thinking. But anyway, listen, I think we're going to leave it at that because I'm going to devolve into no sense whatsoever. And as you guys can hear, I'm a bit low energy today. I'm a bit more having a conversation with my mother more so than having a conversation down the pub today. That's kind of the level of voice that I'm using at the minute. But I just want to say thanks very much, everybody, for everything over the course of the whole season. I'm going to, I probably, unless something breaks over the weekend or unless we're linked with somebody, we'll get the Harvey Barnes podcast out probably tomorrow. And then I probably won't have anything out over the weekend. But as you can see, I'm still not back in my house, but should be back in my house next week at some stage. And then just with having my whole setup, it'll just be easier for me to start podcasting from there again. So we'll ramp it up.
But you know what, Neil? It probably came at a good time because everybody else is putting out their in the season podcast, and we'll reserve judgment to next week, and we'll sit and we'll be measured, and we'll do a bit of thinking, and we'll get it right, because over the last 4 days I really haven't been in the form for any thinking. All I've wanted to do is celebrate. So it's all good. It's all happiness. We're in a really good place. We're heading into an amazing summer. I'm looking forward to reminiscing about everything that's happened, especially over the last 6 months, and then taking a little rest and moving on to next season.
John Steele said, Paddy scored in front of the Holt. I once scored in front of the Vatican. That was something very different. There's a full podcast in that. Those 2 sentences, John, there's a full podcast in that. The Vatican. You've piqued my interest. We need to go for a pint at some stage. And Jerry Garrity asks, where's the live show? The live show is on in Dublin. It's on in the Laughter Lounge in Dublin. That's the venue that's on in Eden Quay on the 9th of September. And as I say, we're efforting, as they say, as the Americans say, to try and get squeeze in a couple of more seats and tables into the venue, and we will let everybody know ASAP. And when that happens, hopefully we will we'll be able to get a couple more spaces in there for anybody who wants to come along, as I say, because we definitely didn't expect it to sell out in a week. That's a thing for sure. Definitely didn't expect that. That's why we actually put it on the 9th of September. We said we'll give it a bit of time now because it's going to take ages, for these tickets to start going, and then bang, 6 days, all tickets are gone. So thanks a million once again for everybody for that. I really appreciate it. And as I say, we're pressure's on now to put on a good night and a good show for everybody on the 9th of September.
Isn't it just?
But,
I'll leave this one to you, Neil.
I completely missed that one. So Michael says, thank you so much, Michael, for that. Gents, I don't know if you know how good you are, and I'm not surprised you sold out. I would have travelled if possible, as my hero is Eamon DC, Villa legend. Thank you so much, Michael, for the for the kind words, and thank you so much for the super chat as well. And you're probably right. We don't know. We don't think we're very good at all. So we just like talking about Aston Villa, as I say.
And I think, Neil, the next time we go over, we have to pre-book Michael Huggins because he's a busy man.
Yes, absolutely.
Come and have a couple of beverages with us.
Absolutely.
On whatever night we get there.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too, for sure. About 2040 is when I'll probably be off the hook to get over again. Yeah, and I'm not saying that, and that doesn't mean 8:40 p.m. No, I'm talking 20. Yeah, that might be when I'm off the hook to get over again. But absolutely, no, I would. I'd love to get back over again, meet everybody, and say hello. So
Jerry has said he'll be there. He's from Mayo. Jerry, the tickets are sold out, but send us a message, and I promise you we won't hold it against you that you're from Mayo. All is good.
Yeah, as I said, we'll know probably by the end of the weekend, early next week, if there's more tickets going to be going on sale anyway. So yeah, keep an eye on us and Twitter, and we put it up here on YouTube as well for people who don't have Twitter, who only watch on YouTube and stuff like that. We just put up an announcement on YouTube as well. So keep an eye on those, and that means subscribe to the podcast, hit the bell, and you'll be notified ASAP, because I don't know whether it could be 10 tickets, it could be 30 tickets, it could be 50 tickets. I don't know what the situation is. It could be 2 tickets. I don't know. So we're waiting for the venue to come back on that for us as
Michael
well.
said he'll join us, but he doesn't drink. That's absolutely
That's okay
fine,
too. Michael,
Neil doesn't either.
No one said that you were having the beverages. Anyway, we're beginning to ramble. So I'm going to let everybody back to their Thursday night, afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you guys are in the world. Once again, thanks a million for absolutely everything over the course of the year. I'll do a pre-recorded podcast on Harvey Barnes, try and get it out tomorrow at some stage, and then we'll be back with more regular and more kind of structured podcasting then maybe next week, and onwards into the summer. But once again, everybody, thank you so much. In the interim, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
And of course, I forgot my outro. Here we go.